So it's Wednesday. Oh, my doggy came to visit me. And I've already had a really incredible week. On Monday, I went to see my dermatologist. And, you're supposed to go every year. And I get there maybe every year and a half or maybe 2 years. But, there's like this little thing on the side of my nose, which is not dangerous, but it's kind of unsightly. And so she does like freezes it. And then it falls off, not my nose, this little thing. And then also it's time to do the skin check, blah, 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 because, I grew up in the 1950s, and our suntan lotion was baby oil mixed with iodine. We smear it all over us, and we go to the beach. Or when I moved to the village, Greenwich Village, we go upstairs on the roof, smear ourselves with baby oil and iodine. And there'd always be some Midwestern kid who, some guy who came from a farm who was, came to the city to discover his sexuality, and he'd be like growing farm things and corn on our roof. It was really nice. But anyway, because I had those experiences. Turning myself, I looked kind of a roasted turkey. That was the color we were going for, a roasted turkey color. So it's sort of wise to go and have myself checked out. Well, wait, so she checked me, blah, 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 blah. And there was this little thing on my arm. Let me see if here. That you can see we did something about it. But she doesn't do anything. She just freezes and tells you. And she said, I think you really, this is going to have to be removed. It's a basal cell. Well, I've actually had them before. One on my forehead years ago, and I actually burned one off. We use Efidesel. I think in your country it's called Efidesel, your country being the USA. And it works, but you bleed out at the end. When it's cured, it bleeds everywhere. And I thought, she had told me this a few months ago, a year ago. And I'd say, I don't want to do that if it's not cancer. Well, this time she said, yeah, it's basal. So she said, well, so she said, I really think you need to have it removed. And I went, well, I don't have Medicare, and I don't get care in the United States. And is there someone here to do it? And she says, yes, because that's my big thing. I have everything done here, and I canceled Medicare. So I go over to see this guy, this doctor. I have to find my way over there. But I did. And I walk in, and he's like, older than I am. No, he's about my, I don't know. Everybody, I'm older than everybody. But he's wearing glasses. But he seems very sweet and very nice. And he looks at it and he says, yeah. And then he says, a young guy comes out. He says, oh, that's my son. I went, oh, okay, Luis. And I'm thinking, okay, Luis is going to help us out. And it was a clean place, very nice. There was a lot of doctors there. It was like a building full of doctors. So he said, okay, we can take care of this now. And I went, okay. And he said, so then his son looks and said, yeah, wait, definitely. And I'll go set up the stuff. And he said, so he goes away, and then he comes back to the desk where we're sitting and comes back. He said, and I'm thinking, I really want to find out what this is going to cost. And he said, would you like to know what it's going to cost? And I said, yes, I would. And he said, well, the removal is going to be $4,000. And the test, the lab test, is going to be $1,500. I went, okay. Pesos. Okay? Pesos. All right? So they're going to cut me up for about $222. And it's for about another $75 or $80 they'll send to lab. So I go, okay, but I say, when I look at my wallet, I said, I only have around 1,500 or 1,600 pesos with me. Do you take credit? And he said, no. Although we could do a bank transfer. And I said, I don't know what that is. I think it might be PayPal. I said, well, I don't have any of those things. He said, well, don't worry about it. When you come back, you can pay us. I want you to try and imagine your doctor in the United States saying, you can come back and pay us the balance, the major balance, because I've only given $1,500. Well, thank you very much. And that's also when I realized, I'm going to have stitches. I'm going to have stitches. And I'm going to have to come back, and I'm thinking, no. And sure enough. So I go in there. It's very clean. And it turns out, his son says to me, he's also a surgeon. He's a cosmetic surgeon. And I said, oh, good. So glad to hear this. Later, I find out he's got this huge business here in town. And he has a partner. I'll tell you in a second. Okay, so I lay down on a table, which I was a little surprised because the last time I had something taken off of my head, I just sat up. And they just shoot you up with stuff and you don't feel anything. After your first couple of pinpricks, you don't feel anything. And then another doctor came in who was the partner of the father of Luis. And so I got 3 surgeons on my arm. And I'm very happy about it. 5 stitches. Didn't feel a thing. They did put a bandage on me, pressured on it. Said, just Band-Aid. I said, well, he just washed it twice a day. I said, well, what about, I have antibiotics. Oh yeah, you could do that. I said, okay. And like, I have like Neosporin. Oh yeah, you could do that. I love these people. So I go home and everything is fine. Now that was on Monday. This is Wednesday. No signs of infection. Everything is going down, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just so happy about it that they did this. By the way, if I had this 6 years, this little thing that had been on my arm, I thought it was something. I thought it was a fungus. It never really went away. 6 years. So it's gone now, and then we'll get the lab report. And I'm sure it's going to be clean. If it's not, we'll do it again, and we'll do whatever we have to do. One day, I just went to my dermatologist, and within a few minutes, within an hour, I was in a surgeon's office. It was taken care of right there. She gets 900 pesos, which is about $45. It was up to 50 because the exchange rate now is 18 to 1. It used to be 20 to 1. We're very spoiled by that, but the USA economy has harmed us. But 18 to 1 is good for the Mexicans, by the way. It's very good that they're stronger. Their peso is stronger against the dollar because it hurts them when it goes to 20 to 1. They're not getting paid in dollars. They're getting paid in pesos. So different subject. That is my story about my medical care here, and I'll go back on Monday, and I'm very pleased to be rid of a basal cell. Oh, she also burned something off my chest, which she said is a wart, and I'm not going to show you my chest. You're really right. But you can see this. This hardly looks like anything, but in a couple of days, it'll be turned brown, and next week or whenever, I probably won't mention it again. Bye.